Hi, I'm Lalit. In this presentation, I'll be talking about our work, Parallel Rigidity Matters for Bundle Adjustment. This work is done jointly with Venu Madhav Govindu. Let's start with the motivation. In the left figure, we see an entire reconstruction of the scene where the blue ellipse shows the 3D points that have been misplaced from the central structure in the green ellipse, which is also zoomed in the right figure. We can clearly see that these 3D points have the same pattern as that of the central structure. That means they are collectively misplaced and not an arbitrary placement. To analyze why these 3D points are misplaced, we look at the problem of bundle adjustment, which optimizes for camera parameters and 3D points. It minimizes the projections of the 3D points to that of the 2D observations on the image plane. We note that this optimization problem has an underlying graph, where one set of nodes is the cameras, while the other set of nodes is the 3D point. Each edge represents which cameras sees which 3D point. Let's further understand what each edge geometrically means. From the camera model, we know that every observation tells us in which direction does a 3D point lie. Thus, BA is trying to recover the camera parameters and 3D points from the edges which represents the directions. The consistency relation of BA can be obtained from the reprojection error like this. Now let's see where parallel rigidity comes into picture. For this, we consider simplified examples where we want to recover vector values on the nodes from the directions on the edges. The consistency relation for this problem is given like this. Parallel rigidity tells us whether we can uniquely obtain the node values from the directional inputs. For instance, we can see that if we fix the red nodes in the left graph, we can obtain a unique solution for the black node. While for the other two cases, we can have multiple solutions for the black nodes, which is one of them is shown in gray. Now, if we look closely, the BA consistency relation is very similar to the consistency relation that is dealt with the parallel rigidity theory. But here, for the case of BA, our right-hand side is unknown since we don't know the rotations and intrinsics a priori. They are being optimized in the bundle adjustment. So how to deal with this problem? We note that the consistency relation not just uses the directions, but also encodes the topology. So we consider only the topology for checking parallel rigidity in the BA problem. And from the parallel rigidity theory, we know that loops of lengths 3 and 4 are parallel rigid in 3D space. This turns out to be useful because BA lies in 3D space and the smallest loop length in the BA graph is of size 4. Hence, we look for the interactions of the 4-length loops in the bundle adjustment graph, where we see that they can interact either with a common camera and 3D points, or with two common cameras, or with two common 3D points. These interactions are parallel rigid. That means they lead us to a unique solution. But checking all those interactions is a combinatorial problem, and it explodes with increasing number of cameras and 3D points for large-scale scenes. To handle them in a tractable fashion, we look at the view graph, where each node represents a camera and each edge tells us which 2D observation on the first camera is matched to the second camera. Now this can be used to check the BA graph because every matched observation in the view graph leads us to two camera 3D point edges in the BA graph. Thus, the view graph dictates the topology of the BA graph. And we can infer about the interactions of these 4-length loops through the matched observations in the view graph. This drastically reduces the combination to check, from which we develop a tractable algorithm for obtaining a parallel rigid BA graph. Here we present the results. In the left figure, we show the same dataset with the misplaced 3D points. In the middle figure, we remove the observations that are not supported by view graph. These observations exist because we remove the camera 3D point edges due to handling of outliers. But removal of such observations doesn't lead to clean reconstructions. Our method, which uses the four-length loops to check for the parallel rigid graphs in bundle adjustment, leads us to removal of these misplaced parts, thus giving clean reconstructions. In another example, we again see that a facade of a building has been misplaced, which are not removed just by removing inconsistent observations. Applying our parallel rigid method with the four-length loops leads us to a cleaner reconstruction by removing misplaced parts. To conclude, parallel rigidity is important to check for uniqueness of solutions in bundle adjustment. Our methods ensure that we obtain a parallel rigid VA graph by considering its topology through the view graph. And parallel rigidity of a VA graph avoid misplaced reconstruction parts as seen from the results. Please visit our project page to know more. Thank you.